a new home for Miami, another team clinches the playoffs, and Pittsburgh went big, but with controversy. Welcome to All Talk, All USL. Talk USL, come on, latest scores, news, and developments. The second highest division, the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I'm your host, as always, Vince Galvano. Happy Monday, September 22. 2 more Mondays in September. Don't forget, next week's the 29th. You always think, well, it's most likely at the end of September. Hold on, not there yet. But yes, October is looming. Hopefully the Halloween decorations are coming up quite soon in your houses and stuff now, because some things are getting scary for teams because that playoff line is becoming more and more out of reach. But ironically, this past weekend, in regards to all the fixtures that was taking place in the western side of things, especially that bottom half of the table, it was either draws or losses. But Pittsburgh won big against Hartford. I think another team that had won big is on the list, but we'll get to it as we do all the time. Miami's new home we'll have to talk about because construction plans have been announced. I'll get out of FIU Stadium, albeit we don't know when, but I'll have more information there. Change in leadership, not at the coaching realm, but more of the manager board realm for Monterey Bay. Have that to cover as well. Obviously, the goal of the week and all the match fixtures and more. So if you're liking the show, make sure to give a rating on whatever podcast platform you're using to listen to the show. And you can always reach out to me at TalkUSL on socials, or just write me an email at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. So we'll get into the goal of the week, and then we'll break down the matches. And as I kind of cover the teams, we'll cover those newses. But so forth, here we go. Goal of the week last time around, 4 contenders: New Mexico, San Antonio, Colorado, Hartford. We'll start first with Hartford. Jack Panayotu against Monterey Bay on September 13th. The New England Revolution loanee curled in Hartford's winner in the 24th minute, helping his side to a 4-0 victory at Monterey Bay. He finished with 48% of the vote, which actually won him. So congratulations to Jack Panayotu, who finished second. Well, not too far off was Zico Bailey with 44% of the fan votes. That was in the match against Detroit. Less than 10 minutes into that match, he buried the winner with an insane shot. I mean, from deep in his own half. I think that probably should have got it, but it's a fan vote. You got to get on. You got to vote. That's just how it is. Tampa Bay Rowdies versus Birmingham. We'll talk that. That was the midweek fixture going into what was this past weekend. And the Rowdies were back. 4 goals second half to stun Birmingham. They flipped the script, rallying from the early deficit. 4 second half goals. Dawson McCartney giving Legion the lead in this one, 12th minute on a quick counter. But after halftime, the Rowdies, they erupted. Arteaga equalizing the 64th. Paul Marie bagged a brace with goals in the 69th and 89th. And then Luis Alvarez capping the rout in stoppage time. Stunning curling strike to make it 4-1 on the night. Tampa's first win in Birmingham since 2019, their most prolific attacking performance of the season. A statement result, obviously in the thick of the playoff race. Dominic Cachado's tweaks at halftime sparked the turnaround. Newcomer Alex Mendez, obviously Blake Bodley, big fan of Blake Bodley's work at Tampa. There, he was, they were both pulling the strings out wide. And yeah, I mean, hey, what Paul Marie, the loanee, electric, scoring twice, now 3 goals and assists last 2 games. He's in form. So let's see if the Rowdies' late season surge pushed them into the playoffs. They have another game this weekend, which we'll cover in a little bit. Elsewhere, besides Birmingham, we had one game, I think it was on Friday night, Miami taking on Rhode Island. And it was actually a low-key game, only 4 shots on target between the two sides. But Rhode Island earning a gritty 1-0 road win in FIU Stadium. The Ocean States club's second straight victory not only gave them back-to-back clean sheets, but also solidifying their position in the Eastern Conference playoff race. Miami fought hard, though. They did. They just couldn't break down Rhode Island. Quizera had a penalty kick, which he buried in the 68th minute, delivering the only goal of the match in this tight physical battle. And I think Quizera stepped up under pressure to convert from the spot. So securing the vital road win there, 3 points, very important. So can Rhode Island's formula, tight defense, timely goals, carry them into the playoffs? I think, yeah. Back-to-back shutouts. I mean, peaking right now is quite solid. I don't think they'll host a match in the playoffs, but should should look to make it, I think, from that side. So we'll talk Miami, then new home, because this also came out this week. Big news out of South Florida. Miami officially part of a massive new sports and community development project in Homestead, talking an 80-acre, $300 million complex that will include a professional training academy, a youth boarding school, public sports and recreation facilities, a sports-themed hotel, and most importantly for USL fans, a brand new 15,000-seat stadium. This means Miami will eventually leave FIU's Pitbull Stadium. I think, honestly, one of the worst venues within all of USL. I mean, no character, and it's a giant stadium, and I mean, on average, Miami get about 1,000 people showing up to these games. It's been their home since 2016, but the relocation 35 miles south to this sports performance hub site. The project is designed by Labella Associates and crucially is coming at no cost to taxpayers. The move was celebrated at a signing ceremony with Homestead's mayor, city council, and Miami FC co-owner Ricardo Silva, who's also a key investor in the project. Deputy CEO of USL, Justin Papadakis, was in attendance and made clear this is part of a broader wave of stadium projects across the league. Announcements in Pittsburgh, Detroit, Sacramento. Well, now Miami joins that list. The World Cup just months away, a chance to capitalize on all the momentum around soccer and the sports growth in the United States. So a permanent home after a decade at FIU, Miami FC finally gets to build its own purpose stadium. Huge step for stability and brand identity. There is a shift, more Argentine flavor in Miami at the moment. I mean, obviously being Lionel Messi, but besides that, Miami FC, the USL side, we have Juan Sebastian Verón, part of the ownership group as well. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think it'll have a great community impact, hosting everything from rodeos, NASCAR adjacent events. The complex is designed to anchor the city's long-term growth in a variety of different projects. So as it takes shape, though, Miami can also start ramping it up on the field. This is what Nicholas Murray said during the Rondo. I think the year has been an improvement on a disastrous 2024 season, but albeit everything would have been most likely an improvement there. And they were a solid side in the beginning of the season. And it's been led by the 23-year-old Argentine forward Francisco Bonfiglio, 13 goals, which ranks second in the Golden Boot race to Cal Jennings going into week 29. That was this past week, right? But the playoffs are starting to look out of reach for head coach Gaston Madoni's squad. 6 games to play. The season has at least been a step in the right direction. I mentioned Sebastian Ferron. You can also add Dario Sala as some of the co-founders there, right? Joining the board of directors. The front office, though, coaching staff now can take lessons from the season, a bit more of an improvement, more stability. That's the key word, stability. You can even add a bit consistency, upward projections for the side of Miami FC. And it's just, the question is, does Bonfiglio stay with the team? Does he go elsewhere? Do they cash in on him during the offseason? What's the situation going to be like next year? Because 24 years old, off a really solid season, you can really build around this guy because it's a hard person to find a replace. But I think also, if it's not broke, don't fix it. There's more you can achieve on a Miami. You could be the guy in a Miami side that's desperately needing somebody to take the reins and pull it forward. And I think Francisco Bonfiglio, the fact that he's 23 years old, add that pressure, add that to your scope. Say next year we're going to get Miami into the playoffs. That's the goal. I'm going to give it one more season, one more in the line. Or maybe not. Maybe just say I'm going to be a club legend here and I'll wait to the stadium project. I don't care how long it takes, but I want to stay here and pledge my loyalty to this beautiful city. Just make sure that I'm compensated at the same time. So we'll see what happens there, but that's exciting news coming out from Miami. Detroit taking on Lexington, and it's Iago striking again as Lexington edged Detroit on the road. Walking to Keyworth Stadium, coming out with a 1-0 victory. Second half header from red hot Forster Iago in a match where Detroit created more chances. They did have 16 shots on the night, albeit only 2 of them on target. But it was Joe Hafferty's cross finding Corey Burke, who flicked it into Iago's path into the back post. The striker buried the chance to extend his scoring streak to 3 consecutive matches, sealing all 3 points in that 74th minute goal, pushing Lexington to 4th place in the West. A clinical finish, and Lexington are looking prime for playoffs. Now we'll get into Hartford and Pittsburgh. A bit of a controversy, chaotic night in Hartford with uncertain victory. Pittsburgh Browns wasted no time making their mark as the visitors, striking inside 3 minutes when rookie Charles All coolly finished to give the visitors a 1-0 lead, but the advantage didn't last long. Hartford equalized in the 11th minute as defender Adrian Dispay rose highest in the quarter, headed home to bring the score to 1-1. The rest of the half settled into physical, start-stop affair sort of thing. Second half wore on. Pittsburgh began to edge momentum, and their persistence paid off late. 89th minute. Brigham Larson's shot forced to save, and who is there? Chase Boone pouncing on the rebound to put the Highlands back up in front 2-1 with only a couple minutes to go. But then what followed turned the night upside down. In stoppage time, Hartford forward Marlon Hairston became entangled with Pittsburgh captain Danny Griffin, and the clash sparked a long, heated exchange with referee Greg Dobka. Hairston refused to let it go, eventually leaving the pitch, and Hartford head coach Brendan Burke then signaled his team would not return with 6 minutes of stoppage time still left to play. The match was halted at 2-1, and while the scoreline has been added to the standings, Hartford has requested a league investigation, leaving the Ritterhounds' hard-earned victory hanging in the balance. So is the win truly in the books for Pittsburgh? Well, for now, yes, the 3 points moved the Hounds within striking distance of Hartford in the playoff race, but Hartford refusing to finish and an investigation pending. The league's ruling could yet change the outcome. Keith Barnes of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette covering there, and we did get 2 statements from the side following this. I've never seen, and whatever was said, I'm very curious to know. Obviously, I think everyone wants to know, but words were spoken, and Hairston, he walked out. Hairston walked out, and so did the rest of the Hartford athletic side. Statement coming from Hartford on their socials. Unfortunately, due to the on-field verbal exchange between a Pittsburgh and Hartford athletic player, Hartford athletic players and technical staff did not feel comfortable proceeding with the match this evening. The club has requested the league to conduct an investigation regarding the use of racially offensive language by a Pittsburgh player. So that had come out. Then 40 minutes later, the statement from Pittsburgh had come out. Pittsburgh Browns are aware of a Hartford Athletics request for a USL investigation following tonight's match. Our organization takes any allegation of discriminatory or offensive language extremely seriously. At the same time, we stand by our players and firmly deny that such language was used. We will fully cooperate with the league's investigation into the matter. Wow, oh wow. I mean, tensions boiling between these two sides, but I'll be very curious to know what the consensus will be. We'll find out and monitor that situation closely this week to see if those 3 points actually stand with Pittsburgh and what the league will decide to do. But not looking good if Pittsburgh are going to come, if we get to light, get a sense of what was said, especially if it comes from the captain of the side. I mean, we'll see. We're not taking sides at the moment. But these kind of things, you have to proceed with caution and see what happens. That was still a 2-1 victory for Pittsburgh for now. Lou City taking on Las Vegas. I mean, typical Lou City stuff at home, Lynn Family Stadium, 10,800 in attendance. They got scoring on their way with Gleedle in the 6th minute. Although Las Vegas did capitalize in the 40th minute to even the score. That was actually right about 9 minutes after Tommy McNamara, new signing for Las Vegas, who was a free agent, obviously former MLS player, has played many years in the MLS. He got sent off in the 31st minute. Rodriguez equalizes in the 40th, but then, being down a man for the entire second half against Lou City, well, Perez gets on the board, and so does Philip Goodrum to make it 3-1, 3 points for Lou City. It would be very interesting to know what the story would have been like had McNamara not been sent off for that second half, because things can change, especially when it's 1-1 in a tight game where Las Vegas desperately need points. Tampa Bay taking on North Carolina. Rowdy settling for a point on the road. North Carolina took the lead in the 14th minute off of a counterattack chance. Rowdy's defender Forrest Lawson stood up to North Carolina's Thomas Roberts, the fourth outside the box, but the ricochet fell favorably for Evan Conway to collect in the final third and slip a strike through the legs of Rowdy's goalkeeper Bill Hamid. Arteaga managed to hit back right before halftime, finishing off a slick Paul Marie assist to make it 1-1. The Rowdies pressing hard after the halftime break. Alex Mendez, Danny Crisostomo forcing saves for leading scorer Rubens Passius blasting home. in the 82nd minute for his 10th of the year. Tampa Bay, though, switching off at the death. Anderson punishing them in the 95th minute, racing through on goal, calmly finishing to level things up for North Carolina. This one would end 2-2 right at the death. Like I said, North Carolina coming back to get a point. Missed opportunity despite dominating large stretches. Tampa Bay, though, failing to close the match out. An unbeaten run, but, costly. They have extended their unbeaten streak to 3, Browdy, so they'll be happy about that. But, I mean, to still remain 4 points adrift to the playoff line and a chance to walk away with, leave 2 points on the table, not ideal. Tampa Bay Rowdies Communications via our Sports Central there. Colorado taking on Sacramento. Jamison returning to spark Republic's 2-0 win in Colorado Springs. It was a 2-0 road victory, fueled by the return of Lewis Jamison. Physical and cagey first half. Nothing to separate the two sides, but he entered in the 58th minute, changing the game with the goal in the 67th, before assisting Rosa Cicerone's strike in the 84th. This win giving Sacramento the third straight road triumph. Goalkeeper Danny Vitiello adding another milestone, registering his 50th shutout since joining the club. Can Sacramento's mix of depth, defensive solidity push them past Tulsa for the top seed? That's the question. It's really who's going to be the best in the West. We're down to really 2, Sacramento and Tulsa for the time being. We'll see what happens. Dominic Van Castaneda there from Sacramento Republic FC's news release via our Sports Central. San Antonio taking on OC. 5,970 in attendance to be exact at Toyota Field in San Antonio. Orange County on the road here. They fell on the road, though, as the host. San Antonio opening the score in the 30th minute through Diego Pacheco, only for OC to feel aggrieved minutes later when Cameron Dunbar appeared to be fouled in the box with no whistle. Jorge Hernandez doubled San Antonio FC's lead just after halftime, but Nico Benalcazar pulling back with a stunning long-range strike in the 54th minute. Momentum would swing briefly toward OC, but missed chances. Another waved-off penalty shout proved costly. Hernandez, then dead ball specialist, he is buried a free kick in the 66th minute to restore San Antonio's cushion. Despite OC's relentless late push, 18 shots, 7 corners, 9 minutes of stoppage time, the visitors could not find a way back. But maybe Ben Alcazar, in terms of a consolation prize, could walk away with the goal of the week next time around. Orange County SC news release there. El Paso taking on Charleston at Southwest University Park. Approximately 8,000 in attendance for this one. Battery traveling out west, returning, though, with a statement win. Cal Jennings, who else but him, striking just 5 minutes in from the penalty spot after M.D. Myers was fouled in the box, giving Charleston an early lead. The Battery doubled their advantage in the 61st minute when Myers finished off a smooth build-up sparked by Aaron Malloy and JDT Juan David Torres. With the victory, the Battery secured their first ever win over El Paso in 3 meetings, locking up a top 4 finish in the Eastern Conference, obviously guaranteeing a home playoff game at Patriots Point. And man, oh man, Cal Jennings looking primed for that golden boot. Elsewhere, Monterey Bay taking on New Mexico. United snatching a road point with a late equalizer. They left it late, though. It was an 87th minute from Archimede to equalize. United had the better half of the possession in the first half, though the key highlight was Chris Shake's outstanding punch save at 29th minute to keep things level. And as the second half got underway, so did Monterey Bay. They scored in the 48th minute, and now Lottie, he's back on the goal scoring sheet, which was great to see. But yeah, late minute, 87th minute from Archimede to make it level. And this one would add 1-1 between the two sides. Gavin Haustein via New Mexico United. And yeah, I mean, the question was going into this one was Shakes going to be in the net, or was it going to be Tambakis? Because Tambakis he's on the verge of a history as being USL Championship's all-time lead in terms of a shot stopper for shutouts. So we'll see what happens if that will be the case going forward. But Chris Shakes did look good in between the pipes for New Mexico, and Sanchez had a difficult decision to make between the two good goalkeepers at the moment. Monterey Bay FC at the moment heading into a leadership shakeup. Club president Mike DiGiulio announcing he'll step down at the end of the season after guiding the Union since their 2022 launch. Under his tenure, he oversaw the remodeling of Cardinal Stadium, helping establish the club's foundations. But obviously, results on the field haven't matched that effort since then. Monterey Bay winless in its last 8, sitting bottom of the Western Conference and on track to miss the playoffs for a 4th straight year. Taking over is new CEO Mike Sheehan, a veteran of more than 30 years in pro sports, including stints with the Dallas Mavericks and Seattle Mariners. Ownership hopes his sales marketing expertise can spark fresh growth for a franchise that struggled with both results and attendance. So that's the big question. Can Monterey turn the page and finally deliver on the promise that came with its own launch? We'll see as that goes under the helm, but that'll be for next season, what that will look like and so forth. Oakland taking on Tulsa, and Tulsa was a big one. They clinched the playoffs. It was supposed to be a win they were supposed to receive, but nonetheless, a point was enough at Oakland Coliseum. It was their postseason spot, a 1-1 draw. Oakland did strike first in the 23rd minute when Wolfgang Prentice set up Peter Wilson, who tapped home his 10th goal of the season. Tulsa, they showed why they sit atop the West, rallying the woodwork twice before halftime, keeping the pressure on, and then 6 minutes after the restart, Taylor Calhera, Tulsa's red-hot forward, pouncing in the box to net his 12th of the season and to level the score 1-1. The point sealing Tulsa's playoff berth with 5 games to spare. Taylor Calhera scoring his 12th of the year, named man of the match for his efforts. So, for both sides, what does this mean? For Tulsa, it's simple, mission accomplished. Playoffs secured, momentum building toward a title push. For Oakland, it's another reminder that resilience is enough. They'll need wins, not draws, to keep their playoffs hopes alive in a crowded Western race. Phoenix taking on Loudoun was the last game to cover as I'm recording on a Sunday here. This one also a story of comebacks. I mean, what was crazy is at Phoenix Rising Stadium, Loudoun striking 2 in the first half, including one in stoppage time in the first half. It was Florian Velo who got the scoring underway in the 9th minute. And then doubling their lead just before the break, Ben Mines heading home across from Kwame Awua. Phoenix turned the tide in the final 10 minutes. An 80th minute shot from Charlie Dennis, deflecting off Giannis Learman from an own goal to spark belief. Then, deep into stoppage time, Carlos Sante rising to head in Dennis's court and completing the rally, keeping Rising unbeaten in 6 straight matches. And that's the question. Can Phoenix turn these comeback draws into playoff clinching wins? I think they can, but time is running out. Fighting spirit is there. They've shown in back-to-back 2-goal comebacks to secure a playoff spot, sure, but they'll need to turn that late drama into full 3-point performances in the final stretch. Kyle from Phoenix Rising Communications via our Sports Central. The other game at the moment that I'll need to cover next time around will be Indiana taking on Birmingham. That takes place today at 5 p.m. while I'm recording on a Sunday. And obviously 2 of the mans to watch in that one. Jack Blake for Indy 11 has had 9 goals and 4 assists from 24 matches played so far this season. Just a staple in that Indy 11 side. For the visitors, Birmingham, it's been Ronaldo Damas, 10 goals on the year with 1 assist. He's been a great acquisition for them. We'll see what happens as they play each other there. Birmingham haven't won a match in 7 attempts, while meanwhile Indy looking quite solid. 7 goals in their last 5 matches, and they haven't lost to Birmingham in their last 5 meetings. So we'll see how that one goes. We'll talk table-wise real quick, and then wrap things up and preview for next week. Around table-wise, here are things in the East. Lou City on top of 60 points. They obviously clinched already playoffs, as well as Charleston. 54 points, so a 6-point difference. Looks like Lou City are primed to be another Supporter Shield winner this time around. Loudoun are in 3rd place with 38 points, sitting 1 point ahead of North Carolina, although North Carolina have a game in hand with 24 matches played compared to Loudoun's 25. Hartford with 35 points to the good. We'll see what happens to that Pittsburgh match, what the league's consensus will be. Pittsburgh rounds 34 points, sitting 6th, 1 point behind Hartford. Then you have 7th place, 8th place, 7th place, Detroit City with 32 points. Rhode Island in 8th place with 30 points. Then the bottom 4, Indy 11. Obviously, these are standings on Sunday, so we'll see what happens between Indy and Birmingham. Indy 11, 26 points to good with 24 matches played. Tampa Bay Rowdies, 26 points as well with 25 matches played. Birmingham sitting with 22 points against Indy's 26. And that's why it's a really big clash, that one on Sunday. Miami sitting at the bottom, 21 points from 25 matches. On the west side of things, Tulsa clinched the playoffs with 47 points. Sacramento Republic probably be the next ones up next week if they get a win against Monterey Bay. They are in 2nd with 41 points and a game in hand. San Antonio with 24 matches played, 36 points in 3rd place. Lexington Sporting Club, 35 points in 4th place. Then New Mexico United in 5th place with 34 points, 6th place and 7th place respectively. looking at 32 points there. El Paso and Phoenix, but El Paso with a game in hand. Colorado Springs Switchbacks sitting at 8th place in the Western Conference with 31 points. And then 2 points from the 8th place spot is Orange County, but they'll take refuge in the fact they only have 23 games played. So they already have a game in hand over Colorado, 2 games in hand over Phoenix. So, but they have Charleston Battery coming up next, and that's going to be a tough one. Oakland are in 10th place with 24 matches, 26 points. Bottom of the Western Conference, Las Vegas and Monterey Bay with 25 points. Man, oh man. And the crazy thing was, if you look back this past weekend, the only teams that got wins from the Western Conference were Lexington against Detroit, San Antonio against OC, and Sacramento against Colorado. The whole bottom half of the table from New Mexico, from 5th place all the way to 12th place, either draws or losses. So, I mean, it's a tight affair at the bottom half of the table in the Western Conference. Juicy stuff, things to look forward to. And we'll preview again what's upcoming in terms of matches. Colorado Springs playing against New Mexico on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. That'll be the only midweek game. Then Friday night, Miami are again in the fold at Friday's fixture, visiting North Carolina at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Also on Friday night, you'll have El Paso hosting Rhode Island, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Saturday for the boys, Saturday for USL Championship. 3 games at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Detroit hosting Louisville, Indy hosting FC Tulsa, and Pittsburgh hosting Las Vegas. Then 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, Colorado hosting Hartford. Half an hour later, you have San Antonio hosting Birmingham Legion. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, Monterey Bay hosting Sacramento. At the same time, you'll have Orange County hosting Charleston, Phoenix hosting Oakland Roots, and then 2 matches on Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific, Loudoun hosting Tampa Bay Rowdies, and then New Mexico an hour later at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific hosting Lexington Sporting Club. And that will do it for us in this episode. Hope everyone is doing well out there. I'm enjoying my FC on the console on PlayStation. Really just enjoyed the opening weekend as well. And yeah, don't forget, there's a couple of USL players and alumni in there, including Nick Marcanic. 65 rated silver card for any of the FC fans out there. Maybe a good one to Evo this time around. Had to mention it as well. Everyone take care, and we'll talk again soon. Peace.